checking in again here. But it's not a doom album. It's not an occult album. It's not some satanic dark crap, some cliche. It's a fun album, a fun, almost like the old monster movies from the 50s. It's more of a lighthearted type of album. From one of Psychedelic Rock's all-time most famous members. He's a legend in psychedelic rock. In fact, part of one of the first bands, often considered the very first band to label themselves psychedelic rock. Can you guess what album, what artist I'm talking about in this video? Well, if you haven't guessed yet, an originator of psychedelic rock, this album is called Roky Erickson and the Aliens, the Evil One. There he is. A legend of psychedelic rock. Oh yeah. So, this was released in 1981, and most of these songs were recorded in 1979, and some of them were released in 1980 under the self-titled Roky Erickson and the Aliens album, and then it was repackaged and re-released with some new tracks included as the Evil One in 1981. And this album, it's psych rock, garage rock, hard garage bluesy psych rock, and I think it tops everything that Roky Erickson did before. I know everyone loves the 13th Floor Elevators. That's the band I was talking about before that originated psychedelic rock. Everyone loves 13th Floor Elevators, but I, being, into stoner rock and heavier music, I really like Roky Erickson and the Aliens because they got more heavy, more, they were more of they had that more hard rock, hard gritty edge to them. So I really, really love this album. And I'm just gonna talk about the album and give my review of it that I wrote a while back and give you a slideshow and everything. I'm gonna give you a nice presentation about this. It's a fairly hailed album, and obviously Roky Erickson is a very famous musician, and he has gotten his due. But there's probably still a lot of people that don't know Roky, and they might not know this album. Maybe they know the 13th Floor Elevators, but they haven't heard his other band, his other album. This album is cool because it was recorded with Stu Cook of Creedence Clearwater Revival, CCR. Basically, he produced the album, and he also played bass on a couple of the songs, including Bloody Hammer. So, it's got involvement from Stu Cook, and it's definitely got that feel to it. I can definitely feel the CCR spirit come through in this album. The riffs are so good. So I just wanted to discuss this album, so I'll be doing that in this video. Also, I used to pronounce Roky Rocky. I used to call him Roky Erickson. Dumbest damn thing, right? Roky, R-O-K-Y, no C. So let's talk about Roky Erickson and the Aliens and their classic Evil One album from 1981. Let's get into it. Alright, let's get into the video here. Let's discuss the background of the originator of psychedelic music, psychedelic rock, the label. Good old Roky Erickson. He was a founder of the 13th Floor Elevators and a pioneer of psychedelic rock in the 60s. Now, just when they were flying high, the band ended under very, very dubious situations here. Many of you probably have heard all about it, but for those who haven't, poor Roky was caught with a joint on him, and he was basically being threatened to have to go to prison, so he pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, and instead they ended up sending him to a mental hospital for the criminally insane, and he was treated with electroconvulsive therapy. So he went through an ordeal of a living hell for years. When he got back from the institution, he was released in 1974. He got back on the old bandwagon here. The first stuff he worked on, the first album he put together, following nearly a decade away from music and going through all these terrible things, being sent to the mental hospital and shit like that, the first thing he put together was The Evil One with his group The Aliens, and he had help from Stu Cook from Creedence Clearwater on this masterful collection of songs. And so this was a great comeback for Roky, and boy, he really flourished on this. He sounds fantastic, rejuvenized. His vocal work is really good. His guitar playing is beautiful on this album, and I think he made the album that he really wanted to make. Probably the subject matter of The Evil One being about, monsters, horror themes, probably spawned from his time with the mental institution and all the crazy things he went through. I'm sure it sparked a little bit of creativity in him about the dark side of humanity and dark side of history and all these themes of demons and vampires. So the album The Evil One was recorded mostly in 1979, and it was released in 1981 in full after having a partial release in 1980. It's the CD has been put out under different titles and with different collections of songs, substituting two or three for two or three others. There's many versions of this collection of work out there. If you can find the one that combines all of it, it's all 15 tracks in one. There's a Bandcamp that's selling that, and I believe you can find CDs and vinyl of that as well. I would get that one that has all 15 tracks. The CD I have does not have all 15 tracks. It's got 12 of the 15. The CD I have has Two-Headed Dog, I Think of Demons, I Walked with a Zombie, Don't Shake Me Lucifer, Night of the Vampire, White Faces, Cold Night for Alligators, Creature with the Atom Brain, Mind, 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 Stand for the Fire Demon, The Wind and More, and it closes with Bloody Hammer. So it is missing a few songs such as If You Have Ghosts and Sputnik. So just a few songs that mine is missing. I really, really love this CD. Highlighting some of my favorite tracks, the opener, Two-Headed Dog. Two-Headed Dog is one of the heavier tracks, one of the more driving, hard, heavy, riff-tastic songs. One of those that has a really good psych drive to it. So if you're a psychedelic fan, a stoner rock fan, that one's gonna really, really get you going. It's a great opening track. I Think of Demons is another one of my favorite tracks. It's got some brilliant riffing on it. It's a quick hitting song, but it makes a huge impact. Night of the Vampire is probably one of his most famous tracks with this group, and it is a good song. It's not one of my favorites, but it's a nice slow build, and it's got a very creepy vibe to it. It's got a real nice atmosphere to it about vampires. White Faces is another one of my favorite tracks, another one of those quick-hitting, high-energy songs, a great vocal work and some really hard-hitting riffs on that one. Second part of the album has some great songs like Cold Night for Alligators. I really like Mind, Mind, Mind as well. And Stand for the Fire Demon has to be pointed out as one of the best songs that he ever recorded. Stand for the Fire Demon, and that one really builds and builds and builds. It's probably the darkest song on the album, and it's just a great psych song, the doomiest song that they wrote. This album is just filled with hit after hit after hit, and it's easily my favorite thing that Mr. Erickson ever created. You can definitely download it, buy it on Bandcamp. I will put a link to that in the description. Any version of this album, whether it has 12 tracks or 15 tracks or whatever, is worth having for psych stoner fans. Brilliant guitar work, beautiful vocal work, and themes that are perfect for those that like the spooky. Unfortunately, Roky Erickson just recently passed away at the age of 71 in 2019. So rest in peace to Mr. Erickson, an absolute pioneer of psychedelic rock. And the 13th Floor Elevators are obviously a classic band, but they don't really seem to appreciate the Aliens. So I tried to find my review of this album on Facebook that I had written, but Facebook's search function is terrible. I searched my group, I could not find the post that I put up. So I can't read my review, but just know that this album is a masterpiece of heavy psych and blues-driven hard rock with a nice southern tint to it, being from Texas. It's really got a nice horror and science fiction atmosphere and theme to it. It's a nice fun album, not too dark, not too jaded, just a real nice light album for those who are into the more comic book style of old monster movies and stuff like that. And the riff playing and the vocal work is fantastic, and it's got Stu Cook from Creedence Clearwater's Magic Touch producing, and so it really is a fantastic album and one of my favorites of the early 80s. So go check out The Evil One. Thanks for listening. I will talk to you soon. Doom on.